Hey fam, welcome back to Tara's Lifestyle and Vlog, and thank you so much for stopping by. So in today's video we're going to be talking about what happens or what could happen to you if you stay in the UK without the right permission, i.e. without the right visa or the right leave to remain. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before I go on, my name is Tari, and on this channel we'll talk about UK visas and immigration. We'll talk about life in the UK, how to safely and successfully travel to the UK, and also how to navigate through life as an immigrant living in the UK. Now, if this sounds like something you're interested in, then please subscribe, turn on your bell icon so you don't miss out on any of my videos going forward. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for always coming back to watch my videos. I appreciate every single one of you. Okay, so what can happen to you if you stay in the UK illegally, i.e. without the right permission, without permission to stay in the UK? We know that for every visa category, every visa you applied for, there are some conditions that are attached to it. Okay, and for visas as well, there's usually a length of time. Okay, so you could be for 6 months, it could be for 1 year, for 2 years, 2.5 years, 5 years, unless you've already got an indefinite leave to remain. If you have an indefinite leave to remain, you don't have a time limit on your visa. However, if you do not have an indefinite leave to remain, whichever category of visa you have, there is a time limit. Okay, but what happens if that time limit has elapsed, or even if you came to the UK illegally and you don't have the right to come or to stay in the UK? One of the things that could happen is that you could be detained. Okay, so you could be caught and detained for a specific period of time. It could be for 1 year, it could be for 6 months, it could be for 2 years, depending on your conversation with the immigration officers and all of that. Okay, so you could be detained. Okay, another one is that you could be sent, you could be removed and sent back to your home country and banned from coming back to the UK, from returning to the UK. And I've talked about a UK re-entry ban, okay, which I'll link up here so that you can have a look to see the reasons why people get banned from re-entering the UK, and also what you can do about it if you fall into that category, if for any reasons you've been banned from re-entering the UK. Again, depending on your circumstance, you could be imprisoned, prosecuted, or fined in the UK. Okay, like I said, depending on your circumstances and depending on the conversation that you have with the Home Office official. Okay, so you will not be able to get work in the UK. So there's no way you'll be able to work in the UK if you don't have permission to stay and work in the UK. So even if you have any kind of visa and you're legal in the UK, if you don't have the permission to work, you won't be able to work. And now we're talking about not having permission at all. So in that case, there's no way you'll be allowed to work in the UK. You also will not be able to allow to claim benefits. And we know that living in the UK is expensive. If you're not able to work, how else can you get money? How can you take care of yourself? How can you feed and clothe yourself, accommodate yourself, and things like that? Okay, so you're not working. You also won't be allowed to claim benefit, because that's another way that people can actually support themselves and temporarily. So the government can support you temporarily, but you need to have the right documentation for you to do that. If you don't have the right to stay in the UK, you won't be able to get benefit from the government. And if you try to claim benefits, you'll be in trouble, because again, you're breaking rules and you could be detained or persecuted for that. You also will not be able to rent a home in the UK, because no one wants to rent and offer rentage to someone that hasn't got the right stay in the UK. And even for people that have the right stay, sometimes it's difficult. They need to have a guarantor and things like that, people that have just moved to the UK. So if you don't have the right to stay in the UK, you won't be able to rent a home. You also might be denied access to a bank account. Okay, so you might not be able to open a bank account if you don't have the right documentation, obviously, because when you go to open a bank account, they want to see your documentation, maybe your passport, before they can do that. But if you don't have the right documentation, there's a possibility that you might not be allowed to open a bank account. You will be charged for NHS treatments if for any reason you ended up in the hospital. If you had any illness or anything that makes you to go to the hospital, you will be charged for it, okay? Because we know that NHS treatment is free for anyone that is legally resident in the UK. And for people that come on student visa, spouse visa, they usually pay what we call the NHS surcharge, which means it gives them the opportunity to go for NHS treatment if they need to. But if you don't have the rights to stay in the UK, you won't have that ability. Therefore, you won't be able to claim treatment from the NHS for free. You will have to pay, you will be charged for your treatment. Last and final one for me is that the DVLA, which is the Department of Vehicle Licensing Agency, could take your license from you. So if you've been driving in the UK, your license could be revoked and you could be prevented from driving in the future or even at the time in the UK. Okay, so these are just some of the things that could happen to you if you stay in the UK without the right permission, without a visa. So my advice to anyone is, if you're coming to the UK, make sure you come legally, make sure you have the right documentation, and make sure you stick to the requirements, the conditions of your visa. Do not break your immigration law rules or your immigration conditions, because if that happens, it means that you probably will be banned, you could be banned, or any other thing. You would have committed a criminal offense in terms of the UK immigration. Okay, so make sure you have the right documentation to stay and work in the UK. Okay, but this is just it for now. It's a quick and short one. I hope it's been helpful. If that helped you, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends and family, and of course subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video.